Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go.
Hi everyone. Today's Tuesday, November the 11th. It is a federal holiday. Banks are closed. The bond market is closed. Federal offices are closed. Oh, what's new about that? Nothing. And so we begin taking a look for the Moneyball morning report on this morning. My name is Anne-Marie Band. Charts by TrendSpider. Flows by MentorQ. We're starting with the E-mini S&P 500. What's significant today? Well, let's talk about that. First thing is they shifted the call wall up. 68.85. That's the call wall. Now the big call wall stays at 7,000. Would not be surprised to see us get there, particularly before the end of the year. They're just really trying to juice the market. The interesting thing is all this news coming out that feels like, oh, this feels like it's trying to juice the market. And the indices are not holding upward strength. This is something very important to note. Doesn't mean anything right now, but it is pretty important. Okay, so what are we staring down? This is the anchored VWAP from the month, the Alpha Trends anchored VWAP from the month. We are sitting with value area high on our 1 hour chart. Let's take a look at our observations, right? Observe, orient, decide, and act. The OODA loop, always in charge of everything we do every day. Highest volume was the 3 o'clock candle Eastern time, 3 p.m. candle, and that high has not been breached. Therefore, supply sits above this zone currently. So it's going to be resistance today. If we make another higher low, let's say we come in and we stall out at the anchor of the VWAP and our prior information for congestion, somewhere around this 6,820 area, right? That's going to be our floor of support here. If we hold that and begin to bounce, it gives us another higher low. We're still above an upward VWAP. We recapture the current VWAP, and then we're off to the races. It can break to the north. But with supply sitting here, if it bounces right here at this old resistance area of 6,838 and does not recapture 6,860, we are going to traverse down into the wide VWAP and the put wall that is sitting now at 6,800. The put wall, as you remember, the monthly put wall was 6,700. It's moved up. Call walls have moved up from the 0 DTE perspective. Put walls have moved up. Traders are thinking pullbacks are going to bounce. Where are we sitting intraday? Well, here's the rub. Overnight, all kinds of punchy news tells us that the market should be bouncing. Not doing it, right? Instead, it's fading very likely into the point of controls and where the VWAP is, down here near the put wall. It may not, but to me, this is what seems like the likely flow. We had let's go from yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 8th hour of inventory accumulation, the price action broke down. Right there. Inventory for 8 hours. Boom. Okay? Now, if you're staring it down and you go, okay, well, I got some kind of measured move there, you know that you can clone this and walk it down, but this big pocket of volume is really telling us where things are going to head next. All right? So, inside of that, we got this noisy piece, this noisy booger, and that is right near the anchored VWAP. So, pullbacks, I suspect, if price action is going to continue to the north, pullbacks should stall right here at 68.20. We just got some kind of news because I just saw the gold candle absolutely fall out of bed. All right, on one of my other live charts. Okay, that being said, what we're going to stare down, see the bounces? They're coming in just as we speak. Old resistance, new support. They're going to try and get above the VWAP, but the VWAP is down on the intraday event and generally up. So what are we looking at? Right? A big messy patch. Listen, you could look at this and go, wow, are we building some kind of megaphone? with lower lows and higher highs potentially? Yes. So collapse in and look where they're building inventory. Right now, this is the tiny pocket they're building. And for intraday traders, this is how we focus. Inventory accumulation, break. So it really does look like they're tracing it down into the space. The break down here, trend down, momentum down, volume by price and time down. It's going to break into this zone. I would suspect that is a short, even though I wouldn't love a short like that. I'd prefer a bounce into the VWAP that fails. A short here, very likely to bring us back into that 68.25. All right, that's the mechanic of looking at order flow. I wanted to bring it in a little bit more closely for us to see what's going on. Value area low, 6,756. Value area high, right around 6,900. Let's take a look at the NQ. Okay, big boxes. I mean, they are just, what a train wreck of motion, right? Everything here. Let me do this. Oh, for the love of Pete, come on. Let's remove all the rectangles, right? And let's stare down what's going on in the NQ. First, observe. What are we seeing? Highest volume candle of the day, actually the opening volume candle and then the follow-up volume candle. So 9 to 11 gives us more volume than the closing candle. Nevertheless, that closing candle still delivers resistance. So we have supply sitting up here above 25,760. Where is the big call wall? 26,000. The put wall also has moved up 25,600, and it's sitting at the 0 DTE put support as well, right? So both of these support walls are the same currently, in line with, hey, that news is coming in, dips or buys. But guess what the traders are not doing? They are not buying. So here we are attacking the put support line of support, where that put support sits, and we're doing the same thing the ES does. Okay, so here's our observations. We got the great big call wall, 26,000, the 0 DTE call wall, 25,850, supply zone, 25,760. What does supply mean? Supply means, hey, there are so many apples here that nobody wants to buy anymore, right? They're like, yeah. I don't want to pay $10 for an apple, is essentially what they're saying, okay? All the apples in the cart, way too expensive, nobody's buying above there. So there's a big cart of apples, priced too expensively, so they're not buying. So now they start to distribute their inventory in order to collect more inventory and make more money, right? So this is what's happening. We had the same congestion, NQ moving just like the ES, right? Same sort of heavy congestion event, breaks down, and then 2 additional sets of flows, another 3.5 hours, and then it breaks down again, and now we're just stair-stepping, right? The motion here, I think these guys sit together. But look at what this one's doing. It's doing what we expect the ES to do, which is coming into its anchored VWAP. Now, is there any volume back here? Not really. It flows right up, right down, right up, right down, right up. Okay? So very slippery price action right here. And so what we want to do is get this into a space where it falls into the next inventory event, assuming that if it floods right through this zone, it'll pop right down and then pop right up, okay? Big picture, still making higher lows. Another big picture, still making lower highs, but it has broken that trend line that we have seen. Okay, so now that we know what's going on, trend is down intraday, momentum is down intraday, and volume by price and time down intraday. Okay, so everything says bounces or fades. So where are we headed? into the heavy congestion events. Just walk through them, folks. And the more that trend and momentum is in your favor, the more likely it is that you can simply stair step from one region to the next. Okay? What is a potential floor of support here? Well, shucks, they're going to want to get above that put wall. Everybody's expecting dip buying to come their way. It's just not coming. So be careful today. We've got flows. If any of you guys listen to Dr. Jim on Tasty Live, he really does talk about flows. And yesterday he was on and he had a great segment on what volatility is doing intraday in the charts and things that can happen. And he's saying, hey, watch out. We could have very big reflexive motion. Very, very big. Okay, let's go to oil. Big oil news in the markets. More sanctions. Everybody's like, uh-oh. So we've got India saying, hey, all right, we better buy our oil from someplace else. And, everybody's in this big shuffle. They just are looking for the bulldog that's going to protect themselves. It's literally, that's all they're doing. They're just looking for, okay, where are we going to find safe cover? And who knows where that is right now, folks. But, for as wretched as we are as a government, nobody else is any better. And that's a sad state of affairs. But here I am jumping on the soapbox again. What is the big picture here? These are giant ramifications of what's going on with more oil sanctions, the band of fighting moving more in Ukraine, NATO talking about X, Y, and Z, about what they're going to do. It's very tumultuous. Very tumultuous. And yet, where is oil? Sitting right here in the middle of the pocket. So oil is not really moving, even as geopolitical risk seems to rise in the chatter. I'm going to check what Martin Armstrong says about the next panic cycle in oil. I'll get it to you guys and I'll show you. But he called the panic cycle in gold specifically. So we're going to take some action on that and figure out what's going on. Okay, that being said, here's what we've got. Slightly upward motion. Dips are still getting bought. And we are sitting at the top of what was a gamma line. So, what are the traders trying to do? They're trying to break out of this area. Pardon me, folks. Allergies are killing me here. So, if we stare this down, it's a very noisy place to trade. I would say be very careful. Scalp trading, probably going to be your best bet. And the rotation gives us supply above $60.60 and demand currently at $60.34. Slope of the VWAP is up intraday, but momentum is up to flat, and volume by time and price is up to flat, and we're in a big choppy zone. So literally, you can see when the market is like this, looking at this indicator right here, when the market's like this, you're going to have whipsaw. I would still, if it were me, I would look at the call wall, $61, as a potential target if we can break above the range. But notice, there's nothing but supply up here. Nothing but supply. We are trying to break out of this zone. But every time we've tried it, we fall back in. So just beware. So far, $60.34 going to be your support action. Let's take a look at gold. This one, very interesting. Wow, have we rolled? I don't think we've rolled. So price action, bullish, right? Pretty bullish. Flattening though, and let's see where we are relative to flows. What do we have? Put wall, 0 DTE put wall, 4,120. 0 DTE call wall, 4,180. Big call wall on the month, 4,200. And the big put wall has not lifted. It's still 3,800. So what does this look like? To me, this looks like a topping formation because flows here are telling me that we simply, although we've got upward trend in motion, we still have a likelihood of a fade. Now, this is my supposition. At the same time, we can look at this and go, listen, if they break that call wall, we are going to head to new highs. That's a possibility. I can't look at it and go, no, that's not happening, because it's very much a possibility. So how do I want to look at this? Well, let's go to the hourly chart and let's look at inventory build. Last major inventory build was an entire day sitting down here. Right? Sticky. But the entire day right here, and the range was 3,990 to 4,020. And ever since then, we've just been sort of climbing up. We had a little pocket right here. Inventory accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. Notice, daggone it. It's not what the price action actually does. I just can't get it to go to where I want it to. I need to move it out here. What this does is breaks out, does a 2x, comes all the way back to the bottom, and then runs again. So this is still the inventory event that controlled all of this upside and pullback move. Then we had another inventory event, another 4 hours. 4 or 5 hours seems like what they like to do, right? Sometimes it lasts a whole day, but if you go into little pockets, you can see 4 or 5 hours before they break. Overnight, we've had all kinds of motion, but a very big pocket between 41.31 and 41.54. Literally, it's been buy the dip and sell the spike. A lot of money to be made in the overnight here. So far, the line in the sand, 41.40, right? Below it, we're going to get down into those 30s, 10 points, which is a lot of money. It's $1,000. Or above, 10 points, $1,000, right? Flat as a pancake. So what does that mean? What does it mean when when trend is flat and momentum is mixed, right? This is bullish from the volume by price and time and slightly bearish from trend. That's dip buying. To me, that's dip buying as long as it's holding a higher low. It's above the put wall. I think it's headed to the call wall at that 4,170, right? Very noisy patch. Look at how it's left all the major volume accumulation. So it could come in and fill this pocket, but as of now, fiat is telling us to buy gold, right? This stablecoin business now is the next fly in the ointment. We'll see what happens there. But read up, folks. Big things are coming. Okay, take a look at SPY. It gapped down, right? Overnight inventory. We saw that it was gapping down, but it's holding the relative box between yesterday's breakaway line, which is $680, $680, and the rest of the floor. So if we move all of our things away, we can see we've broken out of this formation, giving us upward flow. What are we staring down? Sideways pressure. But our lines in the sand have worked fairly well, right? We broke this line, came down into deeper support. But as soon as we held that 675, this inventory event gave us the opportunity to get back long, right? And so I think this is still the floor of support today, 677. If it loses $677.70, it's very likely to fall another $2. Anchored VWAP is flat. Momentum is generally flat but slightly positive, and we are battling for the control of the VWAP. So what are they trying to do? Fill the gap. That's upward flow. Remember, price action is sort of geared to upward flow today because of the news. News is driving the desire for upward flow. It's just about who's actually going to do it? I have no idea, right? But this is what's happening. Above 680, we're going to fill the gap into 682. Below 679, I would not be surprised if we head back to 677. Messy day ahead. We got to be careful, okay? Good opportunities, but we really need to pay attention to what price action is doing. All right, everyone. I'll see you on the streams.